All right, guys, welcome back to the Everything College Football Podcast. Today we're going to be looking at post-Week 5 Heisman watch list, my top 10 currently as it stands. Not an easy list by any means. There's been a lot of impressive performances. I wanted to wait a few weeks before I put this out, though, just to give everybody a chance to have some opportunities to play ball. So I'm sure people would disagree. Guys like Jordan Davis, Matt Corral aren't on here. Will Rogers, another one of those guys. Him and Corral, they play in high-volume passing attacks. They're going to have the numbers. Will Rogers having a phenomenal season, not really in Heisman contention just yet exactly. Matt Corral, he's going to have the numbers. He's been playing great ball. But if you don't show up in the big games like against Alabama, you're just not going to make the list. That's just how the award works. It's not just numbers, it's how you perform as well. It's team winning games as well, so that's another thing. Kicking things off at number 10, you look at Drake London from USC. Currently leads the nation in yards. I think he's up there in receptions as well. Yards per game, 134 right now, averages 10 grabs a game, 670 yards, 4 touchdowns. He's had 130-plus in 4 out of 5 games this season. He's just playing great ball right now. It includes 2 different quarterbacks. He had 170 and 2 scores against Wazoo with Jackson Dart under center the last 2 weeks. Really looked good with Slovis back at the helm. USC, 1 week they look good, 1 week they look bad, but one thing is for sure, Drake London showed up every single week this year. Even when he was held in check against Stanford, he still caught a touchdown and averaged 17 yards per catch. Great hands. He's one of the best receivers after the catch. He's incredibly physical, and you see that at the point of the catch too. Drake London, this guy's just so talented. Glad to be able to watch him play on Saturdays. He'll be on the Sundays here quite soon, but right now he is number 10 for me. Look at number 9, C.J. Stroud. He's only played 4 games. He missed the Akron game. That was an opportunity from the pad stats, really. He's looked pretty solid this year. A lot of people have been criticizing him. A lot of freshman mistakes. There's times where he's overthrown receivers, and that did cost him against Oregon, but he did have 484 yards in that game. Completely carried the whole football team. 500 yards of total offense. He had 3 scores. Against Minnesota in the season opener, he struggled in that first half, came out in the second, was able to find his guys. Almost 300 yards with 4 scores on only 13 completions. Just very good work from Stroud. He's able to get it to his guys, wasn't phased. It was a shaky game against Tulsa. Then he didn't play against Akron. Then he bounces back against Rutgers this past Saturday, completes 74%. Career high, 5 touchdowns, 330. He looked really good. C.J. Stroud right now playing very good ball for this football team. He's going to continue to progress. He's averaging 323 yards per game. C.J. Stroud will have the numbers as the season goes on. That is. They're going to continue to win football games as well. That will also be contingent on him winning the award. But right now, I have him at number 9. I think he's playing really good football. I don't think he's really getting the credit that a lot of people should be giving him. Again, he had a bad interception to end the game against Oregon, but he's still fighting through some of those freshman hurdles. This is only 4 career starts so far, so I think he's looking pretty good for how young he is. Look at number 8, the only defensive player on the list, Will Anderson, linebacker from Alabama. This guy's playing phenomenal ball for them right now. Just a quick rundown of his numbers: 33 tackles, 11 tackles for loss, the lead's FBS. Only 3 sacks, but he does have 4 QB hurries over the last 3 games. That includes the biggest games they've played so far, Florida and Ole Miss. 6 tackles for loss in the Florida and Mississippi game. So against ranked opponents, he's really showed up this year off the edge for them. The defense really struggled against Florida to stop the run. Mainly from the defensive line and the middle linebacker standpoint, they were very good. But Anderson was a premier playmaker in that game. He's been living in opponent backfields this year. He's had a tackle for loss in every single game. He's had a sack in back-to-back games. As I mentioned, a lot of QB hurries recently. He's playing great football for them. He's going to continue to be a big impact for them. With Chris Allen down for the year, he's going to be leaned on even more to make plays, and he's filling that role perfectly right now. So Will Anderson, number 8. It's incredibly hard nowadays with all the offense for a defensive player to win the Heisman. But when you're putting up numbers like these, if he continues to progress, if he continues to put up phenomenal numbers and they continue to win football games, which they will, he'll be in consideration. Just look at Chase Young a couple years ago. He had godly numbers. Still a long shot for a defensive player to do it, but Anderson right now, good little pace to start the year. Looking at number 7, BYU running back Tyler Allgeier. BYU, I think they just cracked the top 10. I believe they're number 8 in the country, somewhere around that. This is a really good football team right now. They're winning games. They're 5-0, and Allgeier's been a big part of that. He's played so well for them, especially this past Friday against Utah State, down to the third-string quarterback. Didn't matter on the road. He runs for 218 yards, 3 scores, averages almost 10 yards per carry. Completely carried this football team there down the stretch. He had a 100-plus yard game against Utah. The thing about him is he's been very consistent. He's very elusive, very strong. He also had that play against Arizona State. Hall threw an interception. He tracked down the ball carrier and tomahawk chopped it out of his hand. He's been just a playmaker for them. 5.5 yards per carry, very consistent so far in every game. No one's really been able to slow him down. The Sun Devils kind of had him in check, but he was still, of course, able to have his presence felt. Allgeier, he's just a very good runner, coming off a big season in 2020, 1,100 yards that year. And then in 2019, he was just in 2019, he was a former linebacker. They made him a running back. And then last year, turns in 1,100 yards. Very impressive stuff from Tyler Allgeier. This is a very good ball player. He's going to be immense for this team that's fighting for a playoff bid right now, as they are currently undefeated. Looking at number 6, Oklahoma transfer Tanner Mordecai has lightened it up at SMU. Far and away the leader in touchdowns of 24 in 5 games. That's just wild. He's doing it on, it's a high-volume passing attack, but only 36 attempts per game. That's, a solid number for what he's putting up. You would expect it to be a lot more for a guy that's averaging 314 yards a game. Also making his presence felt with his legs. SMU's winning ball games right now, and it's because of this passing game. He had that Hail Mary against Louisiana Tech that kept him alive. He's been playing phenomenal ball, at least 4 touchdown passes in all 5 games for SMU. The Mustangs' passing attack is very lethal. Multiple guys getting involved. Danny Gray, Rasheed Rice, Reggie Robertson. Very good stuff from SMU. If they continue to win ball games and if they can beat Cincinnati down the stretch here, this team, I don't know if playoffs would be on their radar, but I do know they would certainly crack that top 15. And then, if guys playing this good, he could potentially sneak his way into the Heisman race. Certainly still a long shot, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility with what SMU has left and with how good their quarterback is playing right now. Number 5, coming in the year, figured Kenny Pickett would have one of those seasons, a veteran. He's been here, more than 5. This is his 5th year now as a starter for Pittsburgh. 19 touchdowns, only 1 interception. He's flat out carrying this team. They're not doing a great job of running the ball. But, if Jordan Addison, Tazir Mack, Lucas Kroll, he's doing a very good job through the year. This team's not phased one bit with him under center. Anytime they've been down in games, the Western Michigan game, for example, he let them back. He had 6 touchdowns in that game, almost 400 yards. They still lost, but he's been up to the call all year long, completing 72%. He just flamed Georgia Tech. He's just doing so many good things right now for Pitt. They sit at 4-1. This is a team that could really start to make some noise in the ACC because you got to win games again to win the Heisman. And they're doing that right now. They have a high chance to do that. Their defense still needs to make some improvements. Right now, if Kenny Pickett under center, they can really beat anybody, I think, that's on their schedule. Pickett's playing phenomenal football. The veteran presence is certainly paying off, and of course, they have that talent around him. Pickett, phenomenal year, as expected, but he's surpassing the expectations I haven't had for him. 20 passing touchdowns already, 20-plus touchdowns total in just 5 games. Very good stuff from Pittsburgh's Kenny Pickett. Number 4, Kenneth Walker, the Wake Forest transfer, comes to Michigan State, and you figured he would have a big impact for this offense. But again, another guy's really surpassed my expectations. Figured that, because they made a lot of good moves in the offseason. Mel Tucker did. The beef up all parts of this football team. Shattering expectations right now is the whole football team. And Kenneth Walker. He's ran for the century mark 3 times. Season opener, he had 264 and 4 scores against Northwestern. They couldn't slow him down. Turned it up against Miami. He almost hit 200 again just 2 weeks later. Fresh off a good game against Western Kentucky, we had 126 and 3 scores. Right now, he's just playing phenomenal ball. 6.8 yards per carry, 680 yards, 100 touches, 8 scores. He's been really tough to slow down right now. This is a football team that's winning games. If you see them win, 10 to maybe even 12 games this year, then Kenneth Walker is going to be a big part of that as they go down the stretch and they really take a nosedive in the conference play. If he can keep this play up, he's certainly going to be in the Heisman finalist contentions list because their offense kind of revolves around him. Peyton Thorne playing very well also, but Kenneth Walker, his efforts are monumental for this offense. He's playing phenomenal. That's all he does, though, is finds the end zone. He did that at Wake Forest very well. 11 or 13 touchdowns, that is, last season. Didn't exactly have great yardage totals, but he found the end zone a lot. Same the year beforehand. He found the end zone a good bit. He's starting to put it together this year. Already has a career high in yardage through just 5 games, and he's certainly probably on pace to break that touchdown record as well. I think you're looking at maybe a 1,200-yard, 20-touchdown season from Kenneth Walker. He's going to be a big part of this team moving forward. Very excited. He has a legitimate opportunity to claim the award this year. Desmond Ridder, fresh off 2 road games where he stepped up. Notre Dame, he was pretty flawless. Indiana, a little rubbish early on, but he was able to lead this team to victory, averaging over 280 total yards. Against Notre Dame, he really showed why, or he showed the progressions he's made as a passer, just phenomenal stuff. He had over 300 total yards, 3 touchdowns. All 3 of the scores were on his shoulders. This is a very good quarterback. He's made so many good plays over his 4 years, and he's finally taken that next step as a passer. You can just see it when you watch him on film. He's shaking off safeties, firing strikes down the sideline, down the middle of the numbers. Just a very good quarterback right now. Desmond Ridder playing phenomenal football. And now with those 2 wins, they have an opportunity to make a real run at the playoffs. And Ridder, he's going to be a big part of that. He's going to put up numbers. That win against Notre Dame put Ridder in Heisman put him in contention for the Heisman, and also put Notre Dame in playoff race. Or Cincinnati in the playoff race. So Ridder, you've seen it in the past. He's really good with his legs. A very good passer. He's being a little bit more moderate though with his legs, not running as much as his career has went on. 7 running attempts per game right now compared to about 12 when he was a freshman. So very good progressions from him. He's going to have a legit opportunity, as does the entire football team. So he's certainly going to be at the top of the list as we go down the stretch. Number 2, there's really not a better football player I enjoy watching this year than Bijan Robinson. This guy's just so good. He's incredibly slippery, very elusive. Arm tackles don't work on him. He's already broken 20-plus tackles on the year. 652 yards, 7 touchdowns. Making an impact as a receiver, too, with, over 150 yards on 10 grabs. A couple scores there. He's ran for 100-plus in all but 1 game this year. That was against Arkansas. And they got completely stonewalled. It's not like he had a bad game, but, he did see a fair amount of touches, and they didn't really run the ball well. They just got completely outmatched in that game. For the most part, he's the focal point of this offense. He's so good. Very slippery at hitting holes. Very great vision, too. He shows you why he's going to be a great back at the next level. But so far for this year, really making his presence felt. Just ran for a career high. I think it's a career high. 216 yards against TCU with 2 scores. You saw him do this at the end of the year last year, where he was running for over 150 yards on just single-digit carries. I think once last year he topped 15 carries, and he still ended the year with over 700 yards. Bijan's just been so good this year. He's starting to put it together in 2021, and that's why he's going to be on this Heisman list all throughout the year. Great opportunity on Saturday to boost his resume when he plays Oklahoma. I actually have a tie with Bijan Robinson at number 2, and that's TreVeyon Henderson from Ohio State. You look at what he's done this year, 510 yards, 7 touchdowns. He was my top impact true freshman coming into the year, and he's already definitely exceeded expectations by a wide margin. First game of the year, he had that 70-yard touchdown. That was a dagger, really. He took on a reception in the flat, and he housed it. He had 277 yards and 3 scores against Tulsa, averaged 11.5 yards per carry, averaged another 11 the next week. Against Akron, 93 yards on 8 touches with 2 scores. Against Rutgers, he took the first carry of the game. What was it, 44 or 54 yards for a touchdown? I think it was 44 yards for a score. I didn't really see many touches the remainder of the game. But he's having a phenomenal year. He's scored in 4 straight games, 7 touchdowns. All 5 games actually he's had a touchdown in, but he's scored 7 rushing over the last 4. Just a phenomenal effort right now from TreVeyon Henderson. He's been big for this offense, and when you're scoring on your only touches of the game, like on Rutgers, his first score is a touchdown. His first touch against Minnesota was a touchdown. He's just doing so many good things for Ohio State right now. This kid is the real deal. I was so high on him coming into the year, and he's certainly looking very good. Very impressed by this young man, and he's definitely up there in the Heisman race along with his teammate C.J. Stroud. These guys legitimately have 2 Heisman contenders, and it was just too good not to put him at number 2. So technically 11 candidates on this list, but, TreVeyon Henderson and Bijan come in at number 2. And number 1 right now, the frontrunner, Bryce Young. People felt he was the frontrunner after the Miami game, and I agree. Even after the Ole Miss game, he's been very good. composure. That's really been his top trait so far. He doesn't rush things, doesn't ever feel flustered. They're putting him in a good position to make plays, too. They're giving him a lot of freedoms, too. He's at the line of scrimmage making audibles. Of course, they've had a strong running game as well. That always helps. But for the most part, he's just been picking defenses apart, making great plays. 17 scores, 2 picks, a little under 1,400 yards. He's kind of having a quiet season, I guess, in a sense, because he's not making, I guess, flashy plays by any sense. But he's making good plays, keeping his eyes downfield when he runs. It's almost kind of like he's afraid to run. I don't know if that's just a trait of his. I think he likes to make plays with his arm. He's avoiding putting himself in harm's way, making great plays downfield. Couldn't really say enough about how good he's been. He's clearly not affected by the bright lights. He's only going to get better with time. This is probably going to be Bryce Young's award to lose, since Alabama is going to, almost probably a lock for the playoffs. They should not win. They should not lose any games the rest of the way, and if they do, they'd only lose one game. So Young's going to continue to light it up. Very interested to see the progressions he continues to make, because he's already very impressive. He was week 1 against Miami. They sent a blitz. A free rusher hit him right in the nose, but he knew exactly where he wanted to go with the ball. Hit his tight end for a touchdown. So Bryce Young's been very impressive so far. And that's going to be my current top 10 Heisman running. I'll leave a comment on who you think should be on the list. Either like, comment, subscribe. See you guys next time.